Hello and welcome to the Dance Yourself Brave show, where we get real about the struggles dancers face, from confidence battles to self-doubt, and how dance has the power to make us braver, stronger, and more unstoppable in every area of life. I'm your host, Mariana Santos, founder of Brazili Fitness. And whether you're a seasoned dancer, a dance instructor, dance lover, or someone who's always wanted to dance but feels a little intimidated to start, this show is for you. Expect honest conversations, inspiring stories, and simple ways to bring more dance into your life, whether that's in the studio, on stage, or right in your living room. And if you're a dance instructor, we've got you covered with tips on how to grow your dance business, attract more students, and create a bigger impact through your passion for movement. So if you're ready to step out of your comfort zone, own your movement, and dance yourself brave, let's do this. Hello and welcome to the Dance Yourself Brave show. I'm your host, Mariana Santos. I'm the founder of Brazili Fitness, and I'm so excited that I have Jeanette Whalen here with me today. We're going to hear all about the fun stuff she has going on. She's actually a retired registered nurse who is making the most out of retirement, teaching tap and performing in a jazz and tap troupe. Like, that is the ultimate retirement dream, right? Jeanette, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. So why don't you start off just letting our listeners know all there is to know about you and how you got started with dance? Let's just start from the very beginning.
Okay, from the very beginning, I always wanted to dance as a kid, but it wasn't in the family budget, so I did not get to do it. But they gave me violin lessons, which fostered a great appreciation for all kinds of music, so I'm really grateful for that. Fast forward, I'm in my late 40s, and I decided that I needed to learn how to figure skate. So being a gym rat, that was my form of exercise all the time, but I felt like I wanted a little something else. Mm-hmm. So I went to the town adult figure skating classes, and I just fell in love with it. So there was a man there who used to be a national champion on roller skates that switched to the ice. And he said to me, "You need to go get some ballet. You have no grace at all."
Oh, wow.
Thanks. So I did. I found a beginner adult ballet class, and I loved it. And the class before mine was tap, teenage tap, and they're doing 42nd Street. I'm like, oh, man, I have to do that too. So then I started learning to do tap dance close to 50 years old.
Wow.
And yeah, soon after a couple of years there, the teacher was losing one of her instructors and asked me to fill in teenage ballet and tap.
Wow.
Yeah. I know, right? So
that's amazing.
So I did that, and then we moved down to North Carolina, and I was taking ballet at one studio, tap at another studio, and the tap teacher asked me to join the jazz classes, and then that studio owner asked me to start teaching tap there. So I started teaching tap there. The struggle for me was I only knew what I learned in classes. They didn't teach you how to teach dance in nursing school.
Why?
So,
I mean, that should be included, right?
Right. So, do you want me to continue?
Yes, of course. Yeah. So, the next question I was going to ask is, the struggles that you faced along the way. So I can imagine, as a kid wanting to do classes and not being able to because of, your family's budget constraints. And I totally relate to that because as a kid, I wanted to be a singer. And I remember that my dad crushed my dreams at the time, told me I couldn't sing. And he's like, just, sorry, don't do it. But years later, now I realize that the reason he said that was because he could not afford to put me into singing lessons.
There it is.
And, yeah. And of course, I think he could have dealt with that in a better way. But yeah, sometimes we are limited. Now that I'm a mom myself, I realize that I would love to be putting my daughter in all these extracurricular activities, and it's just not possible the way that you always imagine it, right? So let's talk about going through that and starting as an older dancer and having to learn ballet technique, where, most children, they start so young and you didn't get that head start, right? So let's talk a little bit about that, how that whole process went.
So the teacher, Eileen, on Long Island, tried to get my foot to point more than my foot would point. And she would actually try to bend it. And of course, either you have it or you don't. Either you have a banana foot or you have a muffin foot. I have a muffin foot, apparently. And then there was the time that she was showing us a combo to lead into a dance, and she said, now you run across the room. So I took off like running the bases, running across the room, and she just nearly fell on the floor laughing, because that's not how we run in ballet, Jeanette. We run a certain way in ballet. You look like you're running the bases on a baseball team. So yeah, it was like learning a whole new language, but I really loved it. And I have I had a good basic music theory background. So I got the counts and the beats and all that came pretty naturally. But then when I saw tap, I still loved ballet, but tap just was going to become my jam.
Yeah, it stole your heart, huh?
Stole my heart, and another new language to learn,
Yes.
and it came a little bit more easily than ballet. You got to start as a kid on that one.
Well, I think that, one of my main goals with this podcast is not only to show people, the struggles behind dance, but how going through those struggles really determines like the kind of person you want to be, and, that grit, that discipline, right, that you build through dance, and how that affects all areas of your life. So how do you think, going through all of this, how do you think that has shaped you as a person, and how has it affected your life?
Okay, so here I am down now in North Carolina teaching tap, and I asked the studio owner, I feel like I could be giving more to the students. I'm only teaching how I was taught, but I really think there's more to this. Are there any courses out there for me? And she said, oh, I don't know. So I found one for myself. Karita Griffith Walker had a tap teacher program, took the entire summer. It's 10 weeks. Of videoing yourself, videoing your students, doing some writing. But those 10 weeks started changing my game. And then I thought, this is wonderful, but there's got to be more. Then I found Hillary Marie Atkins, and she has tap teacher training, levels 1 and 2. Another 2 summers, takes the whole summer. So my summer of 2019, 2021, and 2023, I spent learning how to become a better teacher. And the fact that I didn't have that basis made me want more. And so I went for it. Changed my game.
Okay. And then outside of teaching, how do you think everything that you went through, how has that impacted your life?
It's given me more confidence. I can't say that, I'm just your normal, regular person, and I stand up for myself. And I was a very, very good nurse, I believe, and instructor, because I taught classes at the hospital too. But as far as dance goes, I always felt behind the 8 ball a little, because I didn't dance as a kid. So learning all this and teaching now and performing now boosted the confidence. And I still have a lot to learn. I still will take classes. I'll never stop learning.
And that's the beauty of dance, right? You'll never get to a point where like you tell yourself, I know everything. There's always something to work on. There's no such thing as perfection when it comes to dance, right?
Correct.
And
Correct.
I relate to you because I didn't dance as a young kid, right? I got introduced to dance when I moved to Brazil as a teenager, so specifically Brazilian dance, and it was more dance fitness. And now I've been teaching for over 20 years, but it was very hard for me. And to this day, I wish, right, that my parents would have put me in ballet as a kid. I'm like, if I could just go back in time, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I make the best of it, right? But yeah, it's never too late to start dancing.
Never too late. I'm telling you, late 40s, almost 50. I started. I'm 72 now. So I've had a couple of years, and I love it. I do.
It's so inspiring to hear that story, because I'm sure there are a lot of people listening out there and they think, well, my time has passed. But the beauty of dance is that you can reap the benefits no matter what age you are or what level. You don't have to be a professional dancer to reap all the benefits of dance, which I believe is, confidence building, like you said, and just learning to believe in yourself, right? And realizing that you can do hard things. I think that is the secret. So I'm sure you teach a lot of students out there, and maybe there's something you can share that your students would be surprised to know about you.
Let's see. Well, currently teaching adults only. I just switched studios and I was teaching kids and adults. And I think they would be surprised to know about me that I didn't dance as a child, that I, came to it late in life. And I won't mention the 20 plus grandchildren.
Oh,
They might
wow.
be surprised about that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they might be surprised to hear that, but I'm pretty open with them about when I started, this, especially the adults, and to show them who are just starting out that you can do it.
Exactly. And that's what I noticed too when people come to my classes. Sometimes they're like, well, I mean, because my parents are Brazilian, but I was born and raised in Canada. And they're like, well, it must be like so natural for you because you're Brazilian. I'm like, well, I wasn't like the typical Brazilian who learned how to samba in their diapers, right? Like I learned much older. And that's what I tell them. Like it was really hard for me in the beginning. I was super shy, self-conscious, that super awkward kid. That was me. So it was hard for me to break out of my shell. So I always make a point of sharing that because I think we have this habit of looking at our instructors and thinking like, oh, it's just so easy for them. And to this day, even though I've been teaching for 20 plus years, like if I'm going to use new choreography in a class, I practice that song to death before I go out and teach it because I want to be 100% like just let it flow, right? And so I tell them that like, hey, this song, it took me 30 tries to get it right. So why should you get it the first time? Like, and I think that it's really important to share that story with the people come to your classes because it takes the pressure off, right? They realize we're just human beings like they are.
And this is the place to make the mistakes, I tell them. That's why I'm here. If you knew it, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah. And it's also it's like a safe space to make mistakes where no one is going to be judging you. And you're just here.
Correct.
To, turn off whatever it is you have going on in your life. And just this moment is for you. Like I feel like dance is therapy for the soul, really. We all need it.
Agree.
I'm sure you have lots of stories of people who have come to your classes. And how about like, is there a recent success story that stands out to you the most? Something that was someone told you like, you know what, through your classes, I've been able to do this. Is there anything recent that you could share with us?
Yeah. I managed the tap troupe. So I started a tap troupe a couple of years ago, I guess. And I was looking for new participants. And these two women came in and wanted to be in the troupe. And one I knew from the jazz troupe. She was in the jazz troupe with me. And the other one I didn't know at all. And I said, just, come and practice with us and let's see what you can do. Well, they had been taking classes at the local community center where they don't really stress technique. They just kind of give them steps to do in a combo. So I worked with these two women pretty much exclusively. One of them took off. She just soared right through and is one of my better dancers now. The other one, never having danced before, never having performed before, it was a challenge. She's getting it. She's not quite there yet, but she's made vast improvements. And what she said to me, we just so happened to go for coffee after a class one time. And she said, I want to thank you. She said, I worked in a male-dominated profession all my life, and you have helped me engage with my feminine side. I never thought I could do anything like this, but I want to tell you how grateful I am.
That is beautiful.
It really was a wonderful moment for me, and I'll never forget it. And I keep working with her. I keep working with her.
Yeah. And I think that's what it's all about. Sometimes we forget how our classes impact people in their day-to-day life, right? And it's so beautiful. I don't think there's there's no greater feeling, right? When someone tells us a story like that, it's amazing.
Or when they say, why weren't you a rockette? I'm like, I'm nowhere near that level, lady. But fine. Thank you for the compliment.
Yes. But yeah, it goes to show that they look up to you. Like they see you as a role model. And we all need role models in our lives, right? No matter what phase or, field we're in, there's always so much magic that can happen when we have like a mentor, someone that we're inspired by to kind of push us, to take us to that next level, to step outside of a comfort zone, which is so needed for growth in any sense, right? So what would you say is the kind of impact that you're looking to make in the world today?
My tap troupe as our way of giving back to the community is we go into senior facilities and we bring music and dance to those residents that can't get out to see a show anymore. And that's what we do.
So great.
We go in, we dance for them, we honor the veterans that are there. And I also have a team of musicians that come with us. And while we change costumes, they entertain with music. And it's about a 45 to 60-minute show that we give for them. And just even in memory care places, their faces light up, they're tapping their foot or they're clapping. And I think we get more out of it than they do. But they're happy that when they're there, and even the staff takes a break from the everyday taking care of people that can't take care of themselves to congregate and watch and take that 30-minute break with us. So that's the impact, I think, the greatest impact, I think, that we have right now.
I think that's going to be your legacy. That's incredible. That's incredible. And what would you think is one thing that the world needs more of nowadays? So the world is a crazy place these days, right? Yeah. What is like one thing that you think that, you know what, if we could just improve this, we would see a big change?
I would say less complaining and more gratitude for what we do have, and to always, always try to be as kind as you can be to the next person. It's my New Year's resolution kind of every year that if I think it, I have to say it. So if pink looks good on that lady, I don't even know her, I'll say, gee, that color's great for you. And the face lights up. And just those little things make a big difference. That's what I would say. Little kind things make a big difference.
I completely agree. And because I work from home, I don't get the opportunity to see, random people on the street.
Right.
But, when I do, I try to make a point of, talking. I am very social, so I like chatting. And I think because I work from home, sometimes I'm like, I just want to talk to people. Part of the reason why I'm starting this podcast, to be honest, right? Just to have more conversations with awesome people. But yeah, it's so incredible how sometimes like just one little thing you say to that person could completely change the tone of their day. Maybe they started their day like down or something happened in their life. And, one little positive thing could change that for them. Right. And I love that. Right. Just more kindness in general and gratitude. Like gratitude is the big one. I think gratitude is so powerful when you are intentional with gratitude. Like one thing I like to do is journal at the end of the day, something that I'm grateful for. When you put it like pen to paper, or even just write notes on your phone or something, it puts you in a different headspace where you're focusing on what's good and what's not just always focusing on what's wrong, because it's so easy to spiral just to be like, oh my God, like this is wrong, this could be better, right? But the more you're grateful, the more good things I think you'll attract to your life.
I agree. That's a good idea to journal. I might start doing that.
Yeah. And what kind of advice would you give to someone who's just starting to dance or is curious about dance? So I think you're a great person to give this advice because, you didn't start as a child, right? Like a lot of dancers. So most of the people who will be listening to this podcast, they will be, a little bit older. I'm sure we don't have any 4-year-olds listening to our podcast. So maybe an adult who is interested in dance, but maybe they're a little bit intimidated. What kind of advice would you offer them?
I have two things. One is that Nike swoosh, just do it. Just do it. And the other bit of advice was from one of my figure skating coaches, where I was making myself kind of insane, trying to perfect everything from the lesson. And she said to me, calm down. I only expect a 5% improvement week to week. So give yourself the grace to improve at your own rate. And you will. You will. Celebrate the small victories.
Yes.
That's the advice.
Yes. And it's funny because I've had 4 or 5 interviews so far today, and I think I've had 3 people respond with the just do it. Like full on.
Really? Oh, we got to get more original.
But no, it just shows that that's really what it takes. Sometimes we get in our heads and we overcomplicate. We wait for the perfect moment, or, when life slows down, or, reality check is life will never slow down. So there will always be something. So when you just say, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to, find a class that I think seems interesting to me. There's so many different kinds out there, different music styles, like different rhythms, everything that you can think of is out there. So maybe tap is calling to you. Maybe it's ballet. Maybe it's contemporary. Maybe it's Brazilian dance. There's so many options. And just maybe I would say like maybe just listen to music a little bit and see how your body responds. Do you catch yourself dancing along, or do you catch yourself just kind of like not moving very much? But if the music is
making a rhythm to the rhythm. Yeah,
exactly. You know, so maybe, you know, once you find that style that calls to you, search for a local class, like a beginner class, or find a friend who might go with you, right? Because that could make it a little bit easier. But at the end of the day, it's like you said, just do it. Like just do it before it's the perfect time, or, you know, like just do it and then figure out.
I also tell them, just come to a class. You can sit there and watch if you'd like, or you can, always have tap shoes to lend. Okay. You can put on a pair of tap shoes and try. Yeah. Just try it. See if you like it.
Yeah.
Come on in too.
And they say like with, because I'm a personal trainer and I teach about habit coaching and stuff. And they say that, you know, I'm sure, you know, like most people, January comes along, New Year's resolutions, like this is the year where I'm going to work out and change everything. And then the problem is with human beings is like we jump into things too quickly, right? We're too gung-ho, and then we go from never working out to all of a sudden expecting to work out 5-6 days a week. And you can keep that up for maybe 2 weeks, but then after that, your body's like, yeah, no, I don't want to do this anymore, right? That's why memberships tend to taper off. Like people stop going by February. But there was a study that showed that if you just put on your shoes, like put on your clothing, tie up those laces, and for the first like couple weeks, you just go to the gym and just walk in and then walk out, not even do a workout. And over time, you just go, okay, now I'm going to do 5 minutes, and then I'm going to do 10. Then you're more likely to stick with that because your body adapts to that routine. It's not just the workout that is hard for us to adapt to, it's the routine of going. So like getting in the car, going to the gym, that has to start to become part of your routine. So if you ease into it, like you said, just go watch the class, put on the tap shoes when you're feeling ready, right? And then you're more likely to sustain that habit in your life.
And there's a difference, I think, in having the time to do things and making the time to do things. If you want to do it, you make the time.
Exactly. It's all about priority. And okay, so I'm sure lots of people want to get in touch with you. So why don't you share, how can people reach out to you? If you have a website or if you have, you know, some awesome things going on, just share it all here.
Okay. I don't have a website, but I am on Facebook, and it's Jeanette Whalen. So it's Jeannette. Correo is Corrao, and Whalen is Whalen. Can reach out to me there. You can send me an email. I guess use my AOL because that Gmail was not working well for us. So it's JWRNSKTR, and that's at AOL.com. Be happy to answer anything. Put something in the reference so I know what this is about, or I'm just going to delete you.
That's true. That's true. She deleted my email.
I didn't know it was you.
Yeah, because it was from my company email, and it doesn't have my name, so I should have let her know. But living and learning, right?
Living and learning, right.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for being on the show. And is there anything else that you want to share? Like maybe you should share, again, you're in North Carolina, you said?
I am.
Yeah, is there like a city that you want to?
Yeah, I live in Rollsville, but I'm teaching at Destiny Dance in Wake Forest, a fabulous studio for any genre of dance. It is just absolutely wonderful. Destiny Dance in Wake Forest. Come and see me. I'll get you dancing.
Love it. Well, thank you so much again, Jeanette.
Thank you for having me. It was fun. Thank you so much.
Well, hope to have you back again. And for everyone listening, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure that you subscribe to our show so you get, inspired through all these incredible dance stories. And make sure you leave a review so we can keep sharing the dance love across the globe. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Dance Yourself Brave show. If today's episode got you hyped, inspired, or just made you want to bust a move, do me a favor. Subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear today's message. Sharing is caring after all. And hey, don't forget, your courage is already in you. Sometimes you just gotta dance it out to feel it. Catch you next time. Keep shining and keep dancing yourself brave.